Rutgers goes down at Jersey Mike's 73-84. I'm here in the parking lot. This isn't even the yellow lot. This is like behind the yellow lot, way towards the back. I spent $25 on parking. I didn't even need to, because by the time I came in a little bit late, there was no one checking passes. I'm all the way in the back. I'm waiting for the traffic to get out. And, you know, this is night watch. And this is authentic, right? I'm not in like some studio right now, even though I do have a studio, you know, getting all primed and proper. This is straight off the cuff, Rutgers, Jersey, heart of Central Jersey, kicking it, about to head up Route 1, because I feel like taking the scenic route to Newark, you know, and I'm coming out of the game. That's why you should subscribe to Night Watch and join the family. We got to get to 1,000 subscribers. We're so close. Because this is the real perspective. Journalism/fan. I do a little bit of both. I don't really know. Some people might have a different take on this game. My take on this game is quite frankly and quite simply, this was a team effort. You know, we were shooting threes at a much better clip than Iowa was. They could not connect on long-range shots for most of the game. They were, you know, spooked by Jersey Mike's, whatever it was. And I was pretty confident for a large stretch of that first half and then well into the second half that we were going to pull it off because Iowa was struggling from beyond the arc and from anything, really. But they found their shots off rebounds. They found their shots with cuts. They stuck to the plan, and they continued to try to winnow away at our lead. Dix and Sanford absolutely killed us. By far the most prolific scorers on Iowa today. And as the game wore on, our team just could not keep pace at the opportune times, right? Like we hit shots. Jermichael Davis with a nice three there at the end. Jeremiah Williams did what he had to do. And you had, you know, it's frustrating because, you know, you look at a kid like Dylan Harper and he's an amazing player and he's going to go top 3 in the NBA draft. And he's one of the best players on the court. But you think about his ceiling and then you think about Geo Baker's ceiling. Obviously, Harper's ceiling is much higher, and that's no knock on Geo. It just is what it is. Geo as a freshman wasn't Geo Baker or big shot maker. You know, he was coming into his own. And Harper, you know, he made some shots down the stretch, he made some plays, but he missed some too, and that's part of being a freshman. Imagine if we had him for more than 1 year. Imagine what he could do if he just honed that. You got to get used to the game and the way things go, and I think he could do so many things if he got there. And, you know, somebody sitting with me at the game today was like, hey, he never said he's not. I mean, imagine if he came back. I just don't think it's a thing. Because why would you? You're a top NBA pick. And in 5 years, 10 years, when these guys are superstars, they're going to look back and say, what the hell happened? But it would be cool. I mean, just saying, he could set the world on fire if he did it. Just saying, Dylan, you could set the world on fire. You never know. It's not another question totally. You don't know. But Ace playing sick, not playing as much as normal. You know, I think today was, you know, I've been saying we have this Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper duo, and then who's going to be the number 3 scorer. Today it looked like, you know, we spread the wealth around. A lot of guys in double figures scoring. Everybody in the mid single digits rebounding, you know. Jeremiah Williams pulling down boards, Dylan pulling down boards, Ace Bailey pulling down boards. Zach Martini, I think, had 8 points. He was shooting a little bit better, especially earlier in the game. Did his thing. Everybody kind of contributed, but it still wasn't enough. And I can't pin this on any one thing, right? I mean, rebounds, a slight edge on the offensive side, I think, to Iowa. But rebounds were close. We were shooting at a better clip from 3. Close to even from the field as far as shooting goes. But those two players, you know, when shit hit the fan, for lack of a better term, and apologize for my language, but those guys, the 2 guys I mentioned on Iowa, they made us pay. And they found their shots. They made difficult shots. And down the stretch, it wasn't like Rutgers went cold. That's why it's kind of a frustrating game, right? Like, it wasn't like one of those games where Rutgers just goes cold and can't hit anything. It just wasn't quite enough where Iowa was more poised to, at crunch time, get over the hump and put the game out of reach. Rutgers missed shots down the stretch. But what does it come down to? I think even if you look at the rebounding stats and even if you look at the, shooting percentages as a macro game analysis, if you actually drill down into what was a pivotal moment in the game and where were those three-pointers connected on in the game and where were those rebounds, gotten in the game, where was that defense, efficient in the game, once we got past like that 8-minute mark in the second half, Iowa was able to get second and third chance rebounds and shots. Iowa was able to connect on three-pointers. Iowa was able to beat our defense. And Rutgers, on the other hand, was not able to capitalize as much as they could have in order to keep it a back-and-forth game. And this is the type of game where, and this is the season where, you have a good showing and then you fall apart. You have a good showing and then an iffy showing. And it's sad that this team is so new to each other that it's going to take so long to gel that it's just not going to happen. We just are never going to have the time to do it. And these players are young, whether it's Somerville. Grant has another kind of, pedestrian game. It reminds me of other freshmen. Grant comes on the scene and this is the story all year. This guy emerges. He has a big game, whether it's Grant, for a couple games, whether it's Acuff for a game, whoever it is, they come in. Dirk Hack at Madison Square Garden, they come in. They have a big game and you think, well, this could be the start of something, but then they fade back because they're all still trying to find their footing and the team is too young and not gelled enough to actually make a difference. And Grant is now back to pedestrian numbers the last few games. And, at the end of the day, these guys, they have a good game two games ago. They fall to Maryland on the road. Ace is sick. Now they put together an effort where everybody's contributing a little bit, but they just can't get over the hump in the clutch where Iowa could. And that's the growing pains of a team that hasn't had time to gel, of a fleeting moment that's only going to last for this season. And that's the futility of college basketball right now as, a fan of a Steve Peichel-led program where you really need to be building over the course of a few years the nucleus and culture of a team, and you just don't have that ability or opportunity given the current landscape of college basketball. And so today you see a team that's starting to somewhat try to find itself with all these different players, but when it hits the fan, there's no guy to necessarily go to. There's no defense that actually is able to come up with a big play. And on the other side of the ball, these guys, Sanford, Dix, they're doing what they need to do. They're hitting big shots from beyond the arc. They're finding the open man. They're getting second chance points. They're cutting to the basket. And on the other side, you aren't hitting every opportunity to keep pace. And we go from leading by several points, looking like the game might be out of reach because Iowa just can't find their shot, can't find themselves, to losing by, a comfortable margin for Iowa. I'll hand it to fans. I'm a big fan and I'm an alumni and all those things. But I also have this journalistic approach to the game. And as Rutgers really started to get to a point this season where, and I was calling it earlier in the year, people were very excited about going toe-to-toe with A&M, going toe-to-toe with Alabama. And I was saying, you got to get over the hump. Eventually, you got to start winning some of those games because time is running out. This is a fleeting moment. This is a one-year thing. And as it became evident that this team just wasn't going to get over the hump and this team wasn't going to be a contender for the tournament, I became more of a journalist in this thing. I became more of an observer from afar. And I wasn't able to get as emotionally invested in the game. And being at the Rack or the Jersey Mike's tonight again, these fans, and I'm one of them. Especially when I was a little younger, I didn't have the heart stuff. I used to be loud as hell, like a crazy person. Basketball and football. And if we're at that point again where it's pivotal, I'll be that guy again. But the crowd, I know it's not the same crowd as a couple years ago where we were really in the thick of the competition, where we really had a lot at stake. But the crowd is really into it. The crowd was loud when it mattered. The crowd is cheering. The crowd is emotionally invested in this team. And they gave them everything they had when the moments called for it. And it's just not enough this year. It's just not enough this year to get us over that hump, because the best players are young, and the players that were supposed to bring that experience and bring that veteran leadership have not found themselves and have not produced. And sitting there watching, rebounds continually go to Iowa at pivotal moments, watching us not be able to pull it down when we needed it most. You have to wonder, what did Cliff weigh? It's not like Cliff is killing it. But what did he want that you paid other guys? Or what did a big man out there, rumor was there was a big man wanted to come here, wanted a little bit more money, and we turned him down. What big man out there wanted a little bit of more money, but we decided to spread it out among some of these veteran transfers instead of paying the big man? How might that have changed this season? I'm watching these guys play, and I'm just thinking to myself, some of the plays, Ace drives down and putting it in, and Dylan taking it to the rim. A couple of years from now, when these guys are prolific NBA players, we're going to still be sitting there wondering what the hell happened in the 24-25 season that we couldn't have even sniffed the tournament. And it's a sad state of affairs as a Rutgers fan. And this is a game where no one was necessarily prolific, but everybody chipped in, and it still wasn't enough. Even with a lead, even with Iowa not shooting great from beyond the arc, we still couldn't stop their most prolific scorers. Our defense still faltered down the stretch. Our rebounding, even though the numbers were pretty even, still down the stretch was not doing what the best it could. And you had a little part there. We got a couple of offensive rebounds, still couldn't convert. Or, we finally converted, but we were behind. And this is what happens. And so I leave Jersey Mike's Arena on a Wednesday night. It's rain, snow, mix, whatever it is. There's some snow on the ground. And I enjoy winter. I enjoy snow. Shout out to numbers on the Rivals board. Follow those threads like nobody's business. But this winter has been a disappointment in so many ways for Rutgers basketball fans. And I can only hope for a miracle that somebody comes back, or only hope that we retain the best talent and build it the old-fashioned way going forward, because Pike I don't think is going anywhere this year. He's going to have to get back to his roots. It's a shame that this team, who finds its footing a little bit as a team, but still can't get over the hump with defense, with rebounding, with clutch shots, against teams that aren't even doing great, but find their shot and find their way when we can't. It's a shame that we can't get over that hump this year, and now it's all going to be gone next year. You got to get back to a place where you can develop guys over a couple of years or something. And if you can't, then I don't know what to say. But it's a big disappointment for Rutgers ball, big disappointment for the fans, and it's just, I'm used to it by now. I expected this. I expect it now, and it's, what can we get into the Big Ten tournament, and can we make some kind of run in some way, and can we parlay this somehow into some kind of postseason event just for the enjoyment of the fans to have some kind of memory? But this is an example of, you can't rely on just exponentially great talent as freshmen. If you don't come together as a team and have a philosophy of who fits where, you're not going to go very far. And now, it's agonizing now. We're dragging we're dragging this out. We're dragging this out at this point, guys. And it's frustrating. But if you guys haven't done so yet, you made it all the way through this video, you're following me, I'm a little bit of a different vibe, I'm a little bit of a different flavor than everybody else, even though I collab with every other channel that's out there. And I love all those guys. And I'm going to be tuning into them, and they, from what they tell me, tune into me. Click the subscribe button. We got a lot of stuff coming to you. I had a decommit today in football, but it's okay. I'm not worried. We had the discussion. Go back and listen to my discussion regarding the defensive coordinator hire. Rutgers content is going to continually come from Night Watch here. Click the subscribe button before you leave. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers. We're also available as an audio podcast. I'm still working on getting everything where it needs to be, but we are growing slowly but surely. And I'm here for you, another voice, again, in the rain, coming from work, straight up fan, but with the journalistic background a little bit to bring you Rutgers content. And this is a tough time, but I'll be here with you through the good times too. Click subscribe. Love you guys. Hope you're staying warm. Hope you're fighting through this winter. This is a real winter, not like these mild winters. This is a real winter. Hope you're fighting through it. Hope you're doing well. And I hope I'm talking to you about a little bit, nicer things and better days soon. Another loss. Larry K, live from Jersey Mike's, is now out. Talk to you guys soon. Go Knights.